Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada, you know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boy down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave wonderful August 27th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, we got one more week of this thing called preseason, and college football is going to be starting in about 5 or 6 days. But I want to give a shout-out to the people up north there next to Canada in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
Nathan Peterman completed a pass to one of his own teammates over the weekend.
Yeah.
So there is the promise that he might be an NFL quarterback.
Well, I know Josh Allen had his troubles, too. A lot of good old boys. I still wait for the pundits that were saying, make everybody the best quarterback drafted in the universe to come back and say, well, maybe not on this game. Everybody has promise. A lot of good stuff happening in the world of the sports universe, liking everything that Venus Williams is doing. And then also, I look at some of the NFL teams. There's still a lot of teams that are winless, even though it's preseason, and everybody's still getting hyped for this weekend because we have college football kicking off all over this country. Even Manu Ginobili decided to hang up the basketball shoes, and then Beckham's breaking the bank. But I do want to start off by saying this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. I do want to start, and I just want to give honor to the late John McCain. Senator McCain, obviously, that's what you call a patriot. Someone who gave most of his life in service to serve this country, in the military, also as a senator, ran for president, and didn't quite make it to the top, but his character made it to the top. And I just want to say our thoughts and prayers are not only with his family, but everyone in this country that likes decency, because that's what he was. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if decency quite describes it, Charlton. I like the term integrity. But when you think about an individual who lives his life with integrity in every way, he comes from a naval family, Charlton. His dad and his granddad were admirals in the Navy. And so he continued that naval career as a member of that family.
Yeah.
You know, he served and fought in military interactions, Charlton, in Vietnam. He was captured. He spent 5 years as a prisoner.
Yeah.
And would not be released until all of his fellow soldiermen could be released, Charlton. That's integrity.
Yeah.
Is that you put other people above you. He would have gotten a pass because of his dad and his granddad. But he said, that's not the reason that I got into this, Charlton.
Yep.
That's not the reason that these other gentlemen got into this. And that carried on to his political career, Charlton. You know, 5-time senator out of the state of Arizona.
Yes.
Served politics with integrity, Charlton. People make mistakes in life all the time. There's nobody perfect.
Exactly.
And he admitted that as a man. And I think that's the greatest attribute as a person to have, is to be able to admit that you can make mistakes and you're willing to try to correct them.
Yeah.
Instead of telling people, oh, well. John McCain did that. He defended others, not just in Vietnam, but even in politics when he defended it. The man that he was running against for president in 2008, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He defended that man with integrity.
Yep.
And that was the basis of his political career, Charlton, of his life.
Yeah.
It was about integrity. And he succumbed to cancer, which many Americans have, but he never gave up the fight.
No.
He fought a gallant battle until the end, Charlton. And that was an inspiration for many other Americans.
Yep.
To be willing not to just give up. Because he came in during the rebuttal against Obamacare when they were trying to strike it down.
Yeah.
And cast the deciding vote, because he said it's about Americans, not about politicians. It's about those who need, not those who have, about those who need. That's what integrity is.
Yeah.
And so many Americans today, if they could learn from the example that John McCain led his life with,
Yep.
through valor, integrity, and respect, we would not have a lot of the problems we have in this country today. And it's going to be a sad time, Charlton, in Congress with the loss of him, because things may not go the way that he stayed fast on, Charlton.
Yeah.
And many Americans don't realize how much debt of gratitude that they owe him for being a man of integrity.
Yep.
And not succumbing to political pressure, Charlton.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that I love about the late John McCain is we tend to say a lot of things about people when they pass on, but when you're alive and when someone's alive, that's when it matters most. Senator McCain entered the Naval Academy in 1954. He served the United States Navy until 1981. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives of Arizona in 1982. And it goes on and on about McCain. But one of the things that I'm most proud of when it deals with John McCain as a Caucasian man who served the military when he had people of color that fought in every war that this country's had. And we know he was captured. And even today, the White House has been criticized for lowering the flag half-staff because it took a long time to do it. They could have done it immediately, but it took them a while to do that. But I want to just, to mainstream and everybody else who talks about, what is all this stuff about social justice and all this taking a knee and all of that? How does that matter with sports? Well, John McCain loved sports too. He was a big sports fan. But a seminal moment in my life as an African-American man came when a Caucasian woman was at a rally and he was running for the presidency against President Barack Obama. And she said that Barack Obama was a Muslim and she doesn't trust him and all that garbage. And what John McCain did is a teaching message for every Caucasian person that tells the N-word jokes when nobody's around but people they feel comfortable and low class enough to listen to it. In front of the world's view, this man didn't rally. He didn't say, yeah. He said, no, ma'am, that's not true. He's a good man. We just happen to see things differently. And he took the microphone out of that lady's hand. He didn't wait until everybody went home and called her to the side and say, you know what, ma'am? I don't want to run that kind of campaign. And that's totally different than what we see today. So as a Caucasian man, and every white man knows what I'm saying, you guys heard more N-word jokes than anybody who's been the end of that joke, if that makes any sense to you. Because a lot of that garbage has been taught in private. Well, McCain called this woman out in public. You would never hear that from this administration, to call somebody out in public and say no, and take the mic out of her hand. That silent message alone, Big C, spoke volumes in the kind of character. He could have been like the average person and say, well, maybe you're all right, ma'am, I said nothing, but he chastised her in front of the whole world, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he wasn't wanting to accept bigotry to achieve the highest office in the land, as we don't see that integrity today. He was a man about honesty and integrity. He knew of Senator Barack Obama's background at that time.
Yeah.
But this lady is going to say that, well, she read and heard. I mean, it's easy to say that you read and heard. What were the sources that she cannot acknowledge, she cannot remember? But, it was her bigotry that wanted her to say that. It wasn't his, Charlton. He just didn't want to buy into it. He was running a campaign based on his beliefs. This is a man who fought in wars side by side by African Americans, Charlton.
Yeah. Who
was in prison with African Americans.
Yeah.
And other nationalities, Charlton. He understood what a man was.
Yeah.
And that's how he lived his life. He fought for all the citizens of Arizona. If you look at the racial composite of the state of Arizona, it's more Hispanics than anything else, Charlton.
Yeah.
He fought for those people.
Yep.
He fought for the Anglos in Arizona. He fought for the African Americans, the Italians, the Jewish. Everybody, Charlton, in Arizona, he fought for. Those are his constituents. It wasn't about being a nationality. It was about being an Arizonan. Those are the people that he represented, Charlton, and he represented them with integrity.
Yep.
And that's what people need to understand. We hear so often now, the African-American unemployment rate is down, the Hispanic unemployment rate is down. We don't hear the American unemployment rate is down.
Yeah.
Why can't everybody be American? It's gotten so much separation through race in America is that you have to acknowledge what nationality somebody is.
Yeah.
They just can't be an American. When you say one country, 'tis a V. You know,
yeah.
This is us as a country, and that's what he represented. When he ran for president, Charlton, he didn't separate the races, Charlton.
No.
He ran as a candidate for the American people.
And
we don't get that anymore.
We don't get that anymore. And he also had Sarah Palin as his running mate. So when people talk about equality and the Me Too movement and how do you end racism, I think the late John McCain showed you how. You shout people down when they say something stupid. How do you end sexism and discrimination? You shout people down when they say something stupid. You don't wait and go behind closed doors and call a lie the truth. And since that, we have this birth of movement, and now everybody's bad unless they're Caucasian, and that comes from the Oval Office. So for everybody who has any decency in your heart, nobody's perfect, but as a person, I just want to say my thoughts and prayers are with his family, and he's a man that I can truly be proud of, irrespective of what color he is. I don't want to kiss anybody's behind just because they have a title, but I'll kiss anybody's character. And to John McCain, he showed what a man should be. So again, our thoughts and prayers with his family and for this great country of the United States of America. Big C, in the world of sports, talk about people that do things for a long time. I think about Manu Ginobili, who just announced, his retirement today. And I think about people who've done something great as a young player coming from Europe and then joining the Spurs. He landed with another man of character, and that's Coach Popovich. And under Pop, look at how many great men have become great, whether it's Tim Duncan, whether it's Ginobili himself, David Robinson, the Admiral, another military gentleman, and Tony Parker, so many that I've just learned under his tutelage. Big C, your thoughts on Manu Ginobili stepping down today?
Well, Charlton, an interesting career that this young man has had. I mean, a longevity, 4 championships in San Antonio. And you think in a matter of less than 70 days, San Antonio lost Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Ginobili decided to call it quits, Charlton. Last season was probably his lowest season in the NBA. He only averaged just under 9 points a game.
Yeah.
But when you think about his Hall of Fame studded career, Charlton, that he possessed, he's one of only 2 players in basketball history to win a gold medal, to win a European championship,
yep,
and also an NBA title.
Wow.
And he won 4 NBA titles with the San Antonio Spurs, Charlton. This man has a legacy that, when you watched him as a player, he was like a pest.
Yeah.
He just agitated people.
Yeah.
As you looked at him, it's like, okay, he would take shots and like, okay, where did he pull that one from? I mean, he was
yep,
playground basketball aficionado,
yeah,
is what he was.
Yeah.
But he was part of the heart and soul of that San Antonio team. And, we talked about the late McCain with integrity.
Yes.
You do the same thing when you talk about Manu Ginobili as an NBA player. He was a guy who was a star,
yeah,
in the league. And he was willing to take a lesser role and become a 6th man because it benefited the organization, Charles.
Yeah.
That's what he looked at. When you find teammates that are all-stars and willing to take a lesser role, say, I will be a 6th man.
Yeah.
Because it benefits us overall. That's what Manu brought to that organization.
Yeah.
This is a guy, you look at it now, and, he could score on anybody at any time. I mean, unorthodox shot after another.
Yeah.
You think about him about 30 years from now, he's going to be sitting over in the Y over in Italy, coming out, knocking down 20 points in a pickup game, Charles.
Yeah.
And young guys are going to say, where the hell did you find that at?
Yeah, he definitely had that. And I just think that in a day like today where a lot of players, they don't have that kind of shot that he had. He, even when Duncan were heard about him, he said, yeah, well, I heard there's a pretty good guy coming from Europe, and we'll see how good he is. But to see that 41-year-old player deciding to step away from the NBA. Now he can still play some pickup basketball with somebody someplace and probably score, in double digits, of course. But as we talk about players that retire in their 30s and sometimes players don't give their all, he could have retired the last year actually, but he wanted to come back and give something to Pop and just give something to himself. He had that spirit. And there's something about that spirit that he had. And the late John McCain had that same spirit. So, so many great players in this time, Big C, that we can see play now. We don't have to pull up YouTube and watch what players did back in the day. But he did some great work as an ambassador to the league, and really appreciate what the young man brought to the world of the NBA. Just your thoughts as we close out on Manu Ginobili. Coach Pop, I don't know if Pop got lucky by getting guys like Duncan and the Admiral and Ginobili and Leonard and Green, and now he has DeRozan. Is it Pop that was great, or these guys were great, and who was great first, Pop or the athletes that he had? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's the ability to be able to put great athletes together. There's been many teams in sports history that's been filled with great athletes. But to be able to control all those egos and make them mesh as one, it comes from the leadership of that organization. And when you think about the different makeups, I mean, Greg Popovich, at one point on his roster, had players from 8 different countries.
Wow.
Now, you think about getting these personalities, nationalities, and even languages together.
Yeah.
Because, Pop get a player that gets mad, he cuts him out, and he don't even know what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to be able to deal with that as a coach just within itself. I mean, he had to have, a Rosetta Stone around his practice. Oh, wait, I got to find out what he's saying.
Yeah.
And, you think about what Pop was able to do in meshing all these players from different backgrounds. And see, when we look at athletes, especially here in America, we say, well, they come from different backgrounds, different social, climates.
Right.
Think about coming from different world climates.
Yeah.
That's what Pop was able to put together down in San Antonio.
Yep.
So you have to praise Popovich for being able to put together all these personalities from people from different countries, different origins, different ethnic makeups, Charlton.
Yeah.
And making them all become San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, they were definitely all San Antonio Spurs. So again, Ginobili, you did a lot. And you touched a lot of people. And I love the fact that the NBA's figured it out. How you can stand up for everybody, represent everybody, and not try to throw players under the bus. I think the NFL will figure that out. They better do it sooner than later, because basketball is becoming the #1 sport in the universe for all Americans. And I just think people like him make it possible. Also, I want to bring up just a thought on what we saw with NFL football. And we know that obviously everybody's going to get hyped. It's like the movie I saw, The Great White Hype, back in the day. It was a boxing movie. It was about a fighter. And all I know was funny. But they tried to make this guy seem like the best in the universe, but he wasn't. And they had to push that. And I want everyone to succeed. But when I watched the Buffalo Bills, I look at Josh Allen over the weekend. I thought you were on TV, Big C. I said, what? Josh Allen admitted that this league is a little bit faster than what he's used to. That doesn't mean he cannot adjust to it. But when I hear the pundits, see, Josh Allen said this league is faster than what I was expecting. Okay, I have to get used to it. He was sacked a number of times, and I want him to succeed. But what I want people to juxtapose what he said. This is the guy that was sacked. There's so many people that saying he's a can't-miss player. He's going to be a starter first game starter. He doesn't need to rest. He has an arm that can throw outside of the stadium. He can read defenses, and he's mobile in the pocket. Not only after he got sacked multiple times, he said it was too fast for him. Big C, your thoughts?
Is this Mel Kiper?
He didn't follow the script.
I thought this was Mel Kiper I was listening to for a minute. We've had this discussion about Josh Allen on many occasions, Charlton. He played against a lot of guys that were not NFL caliber players. And it was really proven in this third preseason game. Everybody praised him on his first and second preseason game, Charlton, but he was playing against guys that weren't going to be playing on Sunday in a month. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. He went out against the starting defensive unit of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
He had this, and for a minute I thought Nathan Peterman was in the game.
So did I.
Because he had as many completions as he had been sacked in the game, Charlton. Think about this. You get sacked as many times as you complete passes in a game.
Yeah.
And you come to find out the defensive linemen in the NFL are just as fast as you are, if not faster.
Or faster is what he said, faster.
And defensive backs can close on that strong arm that you have.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're not used to throwing the receivers that can run a 4.3 40.
Yep.
4.5, 4.6 at Wyoming. So all of a sudden, these guys are out running the passes that you were accustomed to throwing.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of that in the game. So all the pundits of Josh Allen, not wishing the man,
Oh, we wish him well, but be honest.
But you have to be honest when you're lying to the American public and the sports listeners.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there and you're hyping a guy, oh, he has the strongest arm in the draft. You got to go back over the last 15 years and count up the number of white guys who've had the strongest arm in the draft.
Yeah.
And, this is the same phrase that Jamarcus Russell had coming out of LSU, and he was an African-American quarterback.
Yep, doesn't matter.
He threw the ball 80 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can't throw with accuracy.
That's
he can't
true.
find an open receiver. That's the difference. When you're not NFL ready, you're not NFL ready. Josh Allen is a project.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about what you live in. I'm just talking about you got to build him.
Yeah.
He is an incomplete product completely.
And he admitted that.
He doesn't understand NFL defense. He doesn't understand NFL routes.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand NFL speed. And so we're talking about a quarterback, and this is the face of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills made the playoffs last year, Charlton. I believe they were 9-7.
Yep.
On the season.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills will be 5-11 if they're lucky this year. Think about the transgression that they're going to make. They will be lucky this season to be 5-11 because they said that Josh Allen was better for the Buffalo Bills than Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, yeah.
Led them to success. So, all of you experts out there, when it comes around to next year's draft, or even as the season goes on, and especially you podcasters in the booth,
Yeah.
as you're sitting there saying, oh, yeah, he's ready. I've watched him, and it's his time. He has a grasp. He has a grasp for the football in his hand. That's the only thing he was grasping.
Yeah.
He could not grasp the defense. He could not grasp the speed of the game.
And
as analysts, we should be honest. When you sit there and say, this guy is going to struggle because this is a step above his pedigree. This is like when you show up for that prom date when you're in high school.
Yeah.
And she has on a new white dress.
Yeah.
And you show up in your dad's 64 pickup. And it's 2015.
Yep.
Come on. This is what we're looking at. We got some dirt somewhere in that truck.
I tell you what I look at is we all want to be great in life. We all want to be great at something. But no one gets better at anything if people are not honest with you. It's called tough love. Now, you can have someone blow smoke in you and you don't get better, or you can have someone tell you the truth. And because of this insatiable appetite that the National Football League has to keep the quarterback position predominantly Caucasian, because they don't want it to look like the NBA. That's a fact. No one's going to tell you about Big C Sports will tell you. And all I say is Google it. Because you had a guy who took you to the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. That's over 10 years for you good old boys. In over a decade. And they said that's not good enough. Not only did they bench him in a game in Los Angeles last year, and Peterman came in and threw, 5 picks in the first quarter? Well, one of those guys that took him to the playoffs is no longer there. The guy who threw interceptions is still on the roster. So for all of you who say, well, the NFL is colorblind and wants to tell African-American athletes don't take another knee or you're going to lose your job, they wanted to get rid of that guy who helped them have success for a guy who even admits on national TV that I'm not ready, I'm in over my head. No one would tell a kid who can't swim, go jump in the ocean. You want to bring him along slowly. You start him out in the pool. And I hope he makes it because he seems to have good character. But there's a lot of people blowing smoke to keep the status quo. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't know if the character's there. I mean, we can go back to the tweets that he had.
Well, that's true.
People say,
that's true, too.
He did that when he was young and dumb. I mean, well, sometimes your intelligence doesn't always improve in life.
That's
you just
true.
get older.
That's true, too.
So when people say those things, I question that.
Yeah.
When everybody is trying to hide what they said years ago, they're still the same person.
Yep.
That brain has not been transplanted, okay?
No.
They might speak a little differently now and be a little more conscious before they throw things out. But Josh Allen wasn't a ready product. He wasn't a finished product. And so when people got all Google and gaga about your friend Mel Kiper saying that he was a can't-miss prospect, he can't miss. He can't miss sitting on the bench.
Well, that's...
And the ironic thing about this, Charlton, Nathan Peterman right now is the #1 quarterback on the roster.
Yeah.
A.J. McCarron didn't play in his last game. Teddy Bridgewater is not too far down the street in Manhattan.
Nope.
He may end up in Buffalo.
Wow. I tell you what, it makes sense. So it probably won't happen. The fact that he could end up in Buffalo, he's also a playoff quarterback too. You know, I mean, I wish everybody the best. But to see Allen was more efficient in throwing the N-word than he was in throwing the deep pass, and he got drafted anyway. But guys that take a need is to bring an end to that garbage. They're told we're going to fire you if you keep talking about it. I just think the NFL has to do what they call a checkup from the neck up. The late Zig Ziglar told us that. I wish the man nothing but the best. But you be the judge because you're seeing what pundits are telling you, and you're seeing what Big C Sports is telling you. Another great thing that I want to say that Buffalo did, they cheer for anybody. They even cheered for the big red kid out of Cincinnati, because he helped them get into the playoffs last year by winning in Dalton. Andy Dalton, they gave him a standing ovation. Ironically, they gave him a standing ovation more than they gave their own quarterbacks. So the people of Buffalo are good people. But for the ownership, I mean, they just got to see what they really want there, because they had a guy and they let him get away in Taylor. And if even Bridgewater's available, why would that be? As African-American quarterbacks that make the playoffs, how come they're all expendable? Guys that haven't even played down in the NFL, everybody's trying to push them to start just like Allen. I think it's called the Great White Hype, basically. Your thoughts?
What Charlton is called, you're prototypical. If you're not prototypical, then you got to find a way to get him in there. Because the NFL has been built on this cookie-cutter image of the prototypical quarterback. And African-Americans weren't a part of that when they were building that, you know, montage of what a quarterback should look like.
Yep.
And you know, ironically, this is the only industry of professional sports that is willing to fail based on what
somebody looks like,
their prototypical looks like, versus the guy that can lend you to some success over time, Charles.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at these big-name quarterbacks who are failing throughout the preseason, I mean, we've seen Allen struggle.
Yeah.
Your cousin in Minnesota is struggling. You know, and we haven't seen your buddy in Chicago at all.
Trubisky, yeah.
Blake Bortles is struggling.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is struggling. Everybody says it's preseason, and yes, we got too many preseason games, Charles.
Oh, too many.
There should be 2 preseason games for the rookies.
Yeah.
2 preseason games for the veterans. I mean, just split it up. These guys that are trying to make the team, they're going to play 2 preseason games, Shelton.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they're going to play 2.5, because the veterans are going to play half of the third game. The veterans are going to play half of the 4th game.
Yeah.
And these other guys are going to play the rest of the time. But, you know, when we keep looking at these guys that you're paying all these money, your buddy Jimmy Garoppolo out there in San Francisco is struggling in the preseason.
They said he's the greatest quarterback they've seen since Montana. I said, don't they realize he was not even 50% in his passing?
Matt Ryan can't even get a touchdown on the scoreboard, Charles, made $155 million.
Yeah.
So when you look at the guys that they've paid all this money to in the preseason, you look at the 3 highest paid quarterbacks in the preseason. Look at their numbers statistically.
Yeah.
And look at what they've done for their teams. Their teams haven't won, Charlton.
No.
They're not throwing touchdown passes. They're blaming everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, because these are the prototypical guys.
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo with his $135 million, your cousin with his $85 guaranteed, Matt Ryan with his $165.
Yeah.
These are prototypical quarterbacks.
Yep.
You know, Josh Allen, you know, should have been the first overall pick because of his arm, and, you know, he's the most NFL ready of the bunch.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are prototypical. That if you look at the scoreboard, Charlton, if the scoreboard means prototypical, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and I just want to bring it out, like John McCain. I wish his statement where he told that lady, no, ma'am, no, he's a good man, and give me the microphone, took it out of her hand because he didn't put up with that garbage. And I hope the media does the same, no matter what color somebody is. DeMarcus Russell, a lot of people hyped him. I never thought he was that great, but it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what people tell you, because they want to push that image while they push the black quarterback to the bench or to play defensive back or running back or wide receiver. And they'll tell you guys that complete 50% are the best they've ever seen. Oh, can he really throw the ball? I think he had more incompletions than completions. But again, I hope everybody succeeds. But I just want to make sure, because there's a thing called equal time. If you're going to tear down one group of players because they make the playoffs consistently, tear down the other because they don't make it consistently. And that's just fairness, Big C. So your thoughts on the weekend as far as any type of performance that you saw that you thought, you know what, I like what I'm seeing. maybe it's just preseason football, but you did like something about a player. Any quarterback that come to mind, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I got to look at Mahomes in Kansas City, Charles. When you look statistically,
yeah,
and what all the quarterbacks have done in the preseason, he's throwing at a 76% clip, 72% clip, Charles.
That's good to me.
72% of his passes that he's completed.
Yeah.
He's completed the long balls. He's completed the intermediates. He's completed the swing routes.
Yeah.
And you got to realize, Kansas City got rid of Alex Smith because of this guy.
Yeah.
Alex Smith had the best year of his career, passing for over 4,000 yards and 28 to 4 touchdown interception ratio.
Excellent.
And making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Kansas City traded up last year to get Mahomes because Andy Reid knew what he had. This kid had passed for 5,400 yards in college as a senior. Now think about this. Mahomes passed for 5,400 yards as a senior.
Wow.
In college. Josh Allen didn't pass for 5,400 yards in 2 years.
In 2 years.
Think
Yeah.
about the 2 years.
Yeah.
Mahomes did it in his senior year.
Yep.
But everybody was saying that he was a better prospect than Mahomes.
And he's not that hype.
And got all the hype, but that will show itself here and once the season starts.
Yeah.
But I really like what he did, over the weekend. He moved the ball up and down for his team, Charlton.
Yep.
He didn't panic in any kind of way. He just showed maturity, that he had been there before and that he belonged. And that's what I really like what Kansas City has. So
Yeah.
you got to look at San Diego with Phillip Rivers out there and that receiving core that he has, Charlton.
Yep.
They're going to be a team to reckon with. Now, you got to realize they missed a couple kicks last year, Charlton, that would have made them a double-digit win team, and they would have won that division.
Yep.
So if they can make sure that they have them a kicker coming out of training camp and preseason this year, Charlton,
Yeah.
the Chargers will win 11 to 12 games in the regular season.
Well, I think the Chargers can be a really good football team this year, especially how they closed out last year. So over the weekend, we had Thursday night game. It was 5-0 Cleveland over Philadelphia. Friday, Carolina 25, New England 14, Denver 29, Washington 17, the Giants 22 over the Jets 16. And everybody's saying you got to start, you got to, you start whoever's going to win the job, but they're always putting in the media who they want to start. Minnesota 21-20 over Seattle, Detroit 33, Tampa Bay 30, Oakland 13, and then Green Bay 6. Still no Khalil Mack on the team yet. Doesn't make any sense. And then Sunday, Cincinnati 26, Buffalo 13. And then Dallas and Arizona played a sloppy game. But when you look about the NFL, everybody's excited to see good football. I think we're going to see it, and I want to throw something to you as I come back from this advertisement here on Antonio Beckham. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and that boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been with Big C Sports. And I tell you, whether a pro athlete, a collegiate player, a high school player, or your mom and papa soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. Talking about reaching out to people, reaching out and grabbing something, showing how dominant you are, I think Antonio Beckham has raised the bar for the African-American receiver. There was a time when they didn't want to give receivers a lot of money. They said it was all the quarterback. Anyone can make that catch. But Beckham, a 5-year, $95 million contract extension, $65 million of that's guaranteed, Big C. That's a little respect. Your thoughts?
Well, Odell Beckham, who you're talking about. Odell Beckham, got the richest contract in the history of NFL receivers.
Yeah.
He didn't break the bank, but he got the best contract that a receiver has gotten, Charlton, and $41 million of that is a signing bonus.
Wow.
So that's his money.
Yeah.
He got $41 million. And so what the Giants are saying to him, okay, show us that you're going to give back now.
Yeah.
We've given you $41 million up front. Now you got to give us something back over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Because that quarterback that they have, Charlton, hasn't proven that he can consistently win. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that since Odell Beckham has been with the Giants, that they have a losing record. They're like 28-38 since he's been a member of that team.
Yeah.
So they're a sub-500 team, and it's not because of him. It's proven, he wasn't there last year, Charlton.
Yep.
They won 3 games. 3 games, Charlton. So, but that quarterback was there the whole time.
Yeah.
So, all the emphasis now is going to be put on Beckham because of the contract. The contract doesn't kick in until next year.
Yeah.
because he's on the last year of his rookie contract. So what kind of pressure is going to be put on the quarterback? I like what Beckham got, because hopefully Mack and Donald will get signed, Charlton, as well as some other receivers that may be due some money. We saw Julio Jones hold out of camp.
Yeah.
But a receiver is only good as the balls that he's receiving.
Yep.
If you can't get the ball to him, Charlton, it doesn't make any difference how much money you pay him. I watched the Giants struggle a little bit offensively in the preseason. I mean, they beat the Jets the other night, but the Jets don't really have much, and they didn't have any offense to show for it.
Yeah.
But their offensive line is not a great run-blocking offensive line.
Yep.
Sterling Shepard and Ingram are two outstanding receivers that are opposite of Beckham.
Yeah.
So, can you get them all involved, along with Barkley, the running back?
Yeah.
How do you make all four of those parts work? That's going to be the struggle for the quarterback.
Yep.
Not those players individually, but for the quarterback. How does he keep everybody happy and productive, Charles?
I tell you what, when I saw the way that he works out, that says a lot about a player. He reminds me of Terrell Owens, not only in attitude, the way they attack the ball and attack the game, but he tends to always be in shape. Even though he had an injury, he came back from it maybe better than when he left. It's something about athletes, once they get an injury, they go away and they get some training, and they can come back better than what they left. And I hope that happens for Beckham, Big C. But I also want to swing all the way across the country and ask you this thought. More knee injuries in week 3 of the preseason because players are going low. I think Lee, when he was hitting the knee for the Jacksonville Jaguars in that game, I thought that was a dirty shot. Now, some DBs may say, no, it's not. You got to hit people in the knee. You don't ever have to hit a player in the knee. That's like a baseball player throwing a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, throwing at the head of somebody. You can see he didn't have his head on the swivel. But why go to the knee? All he had to do is hit up about 4 or 5 inches higher and hit the thigh pad, and Lee would not be lost for the season. I think that's a dirty play. We talk about the helmet contact, but hitting anyone in the knee, that should be cause for ejection. That's just my thoughts, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, not only did he hit him in the knee, but he led with the head when he went in there. So these are the things that you have to look at as far as you analyzing the play as an official. Was it intent? Yes, it is.
Of course
when
it's intent.
In there, Charlton, it's intent.
Yep.
But it also, Charlton, is part of the NFL rule. When you take out striking above the shoulders, Charlton, that's where the problems occur. You look at the amount of knee injuries that have occurred here in the preseason, season-ending knee injuries, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not just with Marquise Lee playing against the Falcons over the weekend.
Yeah.
And which is really going to hurt Jacksonville because he was their primary receiver.
He's good.
It's just that these type of injuries, because everybody now, Charlton, is changing up how they go into attack.
Yeah.
Without that helmet injury in there, Charlton, you went in there and tried to blast the receiver up high. But now with this helmet procedure, Charlton, about targeting, unnecessary roughness, players are going lower. And they're expecting for the offensive player to go lower.
Yeah.
So this is going to occur all season long, not just here during the preseason. We're going to see a lot of star players lost this year, Charlton, due to catastrophic knee injury because of this helmet rule. Because players are now going to be more attentive about going low than they are high.
Yeah.
To avoid getting ejected or a penalty or a fine, Joe.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's sad to see a former Trojan being taken out that way, and I hope it doesn't happen more. I know it goes to show, just like in the game New Orleans and Minnesota last year, DBs tend to close their eyes. No one really believes that, but they close their eyes all the time, and maybe that's natural when you're about to brace for the hit. I just wish that people could target higher. Anyone can target between the chest and the thigh. It's not that hard, but as you say, everything's happening fast. I think he did close his eyes. What a shame that it happened, though. But I want to, speaking of Los Angeles talent and Lee coming out of USC, what's the biggest story in L.A. in your thoughts? I know you're down south, and all you care about is Alabama football and Auburn and all those teams. But the biggest story in Southern California, USC starting a true freshman quarterback for only the second time. Or my man, I say your cousin, Chip Kelly, at UCLA, and somehow, I guess 6 players got suspended for, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or was it something more egregious? Big, for your thoughts?
Well, that's becoming a normal story at UCLA. If you recall basketball season last year.
Yeah.
Being over in China, I believe it was, where you had 3 players arrested. And,
yep.
Suspended for some time. And now it's rolled over to the football season, Charlton. So I guess Westwood is not the Westwood of a John Wood.
No.
You've got some integrity with the players on campus.
Yep.
So, this is, becoming the police blogger of Los Angeles.
What a shame.
We thought that USC being in South Central would be the school with all the trouble, but that one over there in Westwood, has all the criminals on it.
Yep, it seems to be.
When you look at USC, though, they're starting a true freshman, Charlton, only for the second time in school history. Matt Barkley was the first true freshman to start.
Yeah.
At USC.
Yeah.
Now, this kid, Charlton, only did 3 years of high school. Think about that. He only played 3 years of high school football, so he graduated early so that he could come to USC back in the spring and get a grasp of the offense.
Yeah.
Now, how much time to believe in this young man?
Yeah.
You think he's going back to say, okay, if I'd have started Darnold as a freshman, would I have had a better year? Yeah, I'm not going to second guess myself this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to start the true freshman. Because I think when he went down to Texas and the horse got sick or something down there.
Against Alabama several years ago, yep. Yeah.
They were playing a team that had a true freshman.
Yeah.
And that true freshman hung up over 50 points on him.
Yep.
So he's hoping that lightning strikes twice. And he's going to do that same thing, Charlton. So many programs around the country are playing these true freshmen because they're graduating early from high school.
Yeah.
They're coming in playing spring ball, Charlton. So they have a full grasp of the offense.
Yeah.
So they are ready, Charlton.
I'll tell you what, Big C, not only are they ready, speaking of freshmen, I do want to take a side note. I want to congratulate Hawaii, their young players. They celebrated their 3rd Little League title, Little League World Series title Sunday. They defeated South Korea 3-0. So, good old boys from Hawaii. I know there's a lot of water issues over there with the flooding and the storms, but I think it gave people something to smile about as people get back to safety and get things back to normal. So congratulations, Little League World Series. It's amazing what young players can do to try to unite a whole state, Big C. I want to bring up Breanna Stewart, just named MVP of the WNBA after 2 years ago being Rookie of the Year, coming off 4 consecutive championships at UConn. She's had a meteoric rise, Big C. A lot to look forward to for her, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you think about just a tremendous basketball player, Charlton, from down under. She's from Australia, where Ben Simmons is. People always think that Ben Simmons is the greatest basketball player out of Australia. It's Breanna Stewart.
Yeah.
She led UConn to 4 consecutive Lady NCAA championships. She catapulted into the WNBA, Charlton, by becoming Rookie of the Year. A great sensational story. Yeah, and, if it had ended right there, it would have been enough. But in her 3rd year in the league, Charlton, becoming the league's MVP.
Yeah.
Just a dominant, dedicated player. And these are the things that we don't get on mainstream media enough, is how well the NBA plays, how talented these young ladies are, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because they are such tenacious players. They may not dunk the ball like the men, Charlton, but fundamentally, they are as sound as you could ever be.
Yeah, very, very, very happy to see the success she's having. Also, when we look at some of the women doing their thing in basketball, even though it's Big Three, Nancy Lieberman led her team to the Big Three championships. Over the weekend, I thought the Big C championship, I said, no, it's Big Three. As I put my specs, my eyeglasses on, I can see it's Big Three, not Big C championship. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Nancy Lieberman, Charlton, one time as a player was thought to be the greatest woman player in the U.S. She went on to play, in the first female professional league, Charlton. He even had a tryout in the NBA.
Yeah.
But to be able to coach the men, Charlton, even though they're retired, to the inaugural championship in the Big Three league, that's quite a feat, Charlton. You think about a woman having the respect and command of these men that they listen to her tutelage, Charlton.
Yeah.
And this is what I talk about, the ladies having basketball knowledge. Nancy Lieberman, there's no reason why she should have never gotten a shot to coach an NBA.
I know.
And she has proven that she can coach NBA caliber talent by winning the inaugural championship in the Big Three League, Charlton.
Yeah, and I love that basketball. I remember growing up as a young boy, you would always find some of the neighborhood kids, and maybe didn't have enough for a 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, but you could always find enough for a 3-on-3. Ironically, Big C comes out, and then Big 3 comes out after Big C Sports, so I'll take it. I like Big 3 basketball, Big C. Also, I want to just acknowledge, okay, I couldn't care less, but I used to watch Batman when I was a little boy, and they had this woman called the Catwoman, and she had this suit. It was black attire. It was very appealing to look at, and I only watched it before the Batman, right, for the fight scenes. But there was something about that suit, and I think Eartha Kitt, I may be wrong, but I think Eartha Kitt was one of the original Catwomen. But that suit, I didn't see it again until I saw Serena Williams. Now, I know she's starting her 20th U.S. Open today. She's never lost a first-round match. But I know across the pond, they thought that suit was so mesmerizing, they're willing to watch ladies walk around or run around on the tennis courts where you can see a lot of body parts under those skirts. Let's just be real. Serena had one that's all covered up. But some people are saying it's too sexy. So I'm going to ask the women of the world, in fact, the women of the universe, what's more appealing? A woman with half of her cheeks hanging out of her backside as she's chasing down tennis balls, or a woman who covers her whole body? Well, would you believe one of them that covers the whole body is being told, we don't want that look as too appealing? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about sports has always been regulated by uniforms. I mean, when you look at Wimbledon, it's all white. There's no other colors that are involved in Wimbledon. It's all white, regardless of who you are, what your status in the tennis world is. A lot of other tournaments, Charlton, allow different colors to come in.
Yeah.
But, it's like with sports. You look at football that we're talking about now. There's uniformity.
Yeah.
Every player has to wear the same uniform, the same thing. Baseball is the same way, Charlton. It's uniformity about the sport. Basketball.
Yeah.
That's what makes sports so unique, is that when you come out, it's about the competition of the athlete, not the competition of the outfits that they're wearing, Charlton. So it's not a bad idea that tennis puts his foot down and says, we're going to, use the integrity of the game. There's a uniform racket size that you have to use, Charlton.
Yeah.
So for everybody to have to wear the same color outfits or eliminate something that's really outlandish, that's changing the scope of the game. I understand that there could be medical reasons involved, as she stated, Charlton.
Yeah.
But if you're not medically cleared to play, then you shouldn't play.
Yeah.
But the integrity of any sport means more than anything else, Charlton. I think golf is the only sport that anybody can wear whatever they want to wear
yeah.
on any given tournament.
John Daly, yep. Well, I tell you what, she's a phenomenal athlete, and I'm glad to see that she, when she announced that she was doing it for some medical reasons, that just shows how committed she is to her sport. Everybody's dealing with something. And if you can play, then people are finding ways to do that, whether it's athletes coming back from a ACL tear, or some people dealing with Tommy John surgery in baseball, and then she gave birth, and a lot of women go through some complications. So good to see her being healthy, Big C. Now, top-seeded Ramona, now she lost her opening round match to a 44th seed. It just shows that anyone can beat anyone any given day. You just have to be ready for it, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's what tennis is, and that opens the door for Serena Williams,
yeah,
to possibly win this tournament, Charlton, and add another Grand Slam to her mix. But,
yeah.
You're a top seed, and you come in, you lose to a 44 seed, Charlton. Very disappointing for the proponents of the U.S. Open, Charlton, the bettors and all of that.
Yep.
When you're expecting to see the world's top tennis players, and they don't deliver, Charlton, in the first couple rounds, they get eliminated, then that's what we see a lot of times in sports.
Yeah.
Sports has become very competitive. We always have our favorites. But it comes back to that old saying, on any given Sunday, anybody can win.
Anybody can win on any given Sunday. I think there was a movie about any given Sunday, but we know if you're out there and you're lacing them up, you always have a chance to win or lose. Just love seeing competition, the spirit of competition, and seeing how the women are getting so much praise for being the best out there. I really love seeing that. I think they've come a long way as women. When we look at a few more things in the world of sports, I think about baseball, and you look at the Oakland A's and the Houston Astros, a 3-game set tonight, first place on the line. This is what baseball is. This is what makes baseball great, because in October, just around the corner, we have teams that are going to be in or out of the playoffs based on what's happening now. I really like the renaissance of the Oakland A's. I think it's bringing life back to the East Bay. In fact, all of the Bay Area can rally around the Oakland A's. Should they get into the playoffs, I think it's going to be difficult knocking off Houston because they have a solid team coming back. But give me your thoughts as a Southern boy. Seeing the A's play great baseball again, does that turn your fancy, or is it still, does that A on the side of their hat look like Alabama football, or is it just the Oakland A's? Make sure your thoughts.
Well, it could be Alabama, it could be Arkansas, but right now we know it's the Athletics. Those Athletics.
Yep.
And they won 79 games this year, Charlton, more than what they did last season.
Yeah.
But to have races like this in baseball, the pennant races, when it gets down to late August, early September, Charlton, this is what baseball is meant to be competitive. And this is a 3-game series, Charlton.
Yep.
The team that wins this series is going to be in first place. That's exciting because you still have some 40 games left to play in the season, Charlton. But this is great for baseball, to be competitive, to have every game mean something.
Yeah.
Instead of you being, 50 games out of first place like the Baltimore Orioles, and no one really cares what you're doing.
That's a very good point, Big C. So I love looking at the Oakland A's and how they're doing their thing, and I hope they have a great deal of success. Also want to look at Kendrick Morales for Toronto, hammered in 7 consecutive games, where they make it 8 straight tonight versus Baltimore. There's something I love about seeing the Blue Jays, that stadium that they play that's retractable up in Toronto, and they get a lot of fanfare. They get a lot of people that follow them, and I'll never forget how great they were when they won the World Series, I think back in '93. But that team, they're in and out of being great, but there's something about the city of Toronto and the country of Canada to see them competing for America's, they say maybe pastime is baseball. Something about Toronto. I love that city. I love that look. And when they have players that are making consecutive home runs, I think it's good for the whole city. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they won back-to-back World Series, 92, 93, led by Joe Carter with a miraculous home run off of Williams in the 9th inning. But when you think about Kendrick Morales, Charlton, having 7 consecutive games, getting the long ball out of the park there, Charlton, and if he does it again tonight for his 8th consecutive game, that will be a major league record.
Yeah.
Even though the Jays are not in the playoff hunt, Charlton, it's good for fanfare. We talk about the long ball bringing fans into the stadium, putting butts in the seat.
Yep.
That's what happens. When your team is out of it, Charlton, you got to find ways to rejuvenate some excitement. And Kendrick Morales has done that for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's done that for the Blue Jays. And just love the fact that you could take the game of baseball all the way up north, and they're loving it no matter whether the teams are in contention or not. Something else I want to just bring up is as far as what's happening this week, we have this build-up to the college football season, and a lot of great high school players happening all over the country. I want to just give congratulations. Mater Dei High School, I think ranked number 2 in the country, last year's national champion. In the high school game of the week, they defeated number 12 Bishop Gorman of Las Vegas, Nevada, 42-0 in Las Vegas, and that was rare for high school teams of that caliber. The last 2 defending national championships playing for the game of the week. So congratulations, Mater Dei, as well as a lot of other teams out there lacing them up. But I want to get this feel that you have with Alabama. They're getting ready for Louisville. Now, I don't think Louisville can hang with Alabama, but I do want to say that it's a game that they cannot overlook either. I know last year they had Florida State and really changed Florida State's season with a beatdown in the first game of the season. Could the same thing happen for Louisville? I don't think they match up with them, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, Louisville is in the hunt for a new quarterback. Lamar Jackson has gone on to the NFL. The biggest controversy in Alabama has been who's going to start at quarterback.
Yeah.
Because nothing else makes a difference, really. You can line up anybody on the field. I'm torn on that situation when everyone talks about Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Because they won the national championship, that he should be the starter.
Yeah.
That he should be the surefire number 1. Now, we've seen things like this in the NFL.
Yep.
We've seen Jeff Hostetler win a Super Bowl with the New York Giants. Phil Simms came back and it was his team.
Yeah.
Hostetler moved on. So, this is not the first time that controversy has ever reared its head.
Yeah.
But I like Hurts. I like his body of work. People say, you can't make big plays every play in a football game. But when you're 26-2 as a starter, Charlton, with a national championship under your belt, that's a pretty good resume.
Yeah.
And because the guy comes out and has 2 exciting quarters of football, to me, that's not enough to remove the guy from being the incumbent starter of a football team, Charlton.
Yep.
So I like Nick. I've always liked Nick Saban's intelligence on the college football level, Charlton.
Yeah.
And I think that he will be the smarter of everybody in the media and go with the guy that has got him here for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Other than the guy that played an exciting half of the game, Charlton, who had nothing to lose.
Yep. And hadn't been scouted prior to that second half of the game. But they're going to have a good team. You're loaded when you're wondering if the guy that's 26-2 should sit on the bench. That shows you the favoritism that Alabama has down there. Maybe they have something at the bottom of that lake that he baptizes those boys in, Big C, that gives them.
Well, you also got to look at this, Dalton.
Yeah.
The opposing coach last year in the national championship game, Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Had been the defensive coordinator when Jalen Hurts came to Alabama.
Yeah.
So he knew everything that Jalen Hurts could do.
Yep.
He had never saw Tua Tagovailoa, okay?
Yeah.
He had never saw him other than on film.
Yep.
So he didn't know anything about this young man. That made the difference. And a lot of people don't remember that when Tagovailoa came into the game, not only did he come into the game, but they brought in half the freshman squad along with him, the guys that he would practice with.
Yeah.
And so they had the same rhythm. He had the running back, he had the receivers, he had 2 offensive linemen, and a tight end. These are people that he worked with on that backup squad, Charlton.
Yeah.
Nick Saban not just put in the quarterback, which everybody is overlooking. They said, well, he put in the quarterback. Yes. But he put in 5 other freshmen also, Charlton, into that lineup.
Yeah.
Those players all made a significant difference, Charlton.
Yeah.
So Nick Saban not only would just have to change the quarterback, Charlton, he's got to change out 5 or 6 other players just like he did in the second half of that national championship game.
Yeah, that's definitely true, Big C. And also, when I look at another big game that's going to be down in the South, and we'll preview more coming up in the week as well, but I look at for the Pac-12 to send the University of Washington to the college football playoffs. This is a must-win game. It's not as if they can lose this game and then climb back up in the rankings, because if they do, coming in as the highest rated team in the Pac-12, all people would say is, well, the conference is not as strong as it should be. But that's not really the case. I think Stanford's going to have a really good team this year that can push them. I think Utah's going to be good. Southern Cal has so much talent, they're always going to be in the thick of things. And with their schedule going down to Texas, that's a lot for the Pac-12 this year. If they can get that win against an SEC team and USC goes out and beats Texas, people can't say that the conference is not up to par. But give me your thoughts if Auburn is in a more of a must-win situation, because the SEC perception-wise is stronger than the Pac-12, or could they afford to lose that game and still have an opportunity because they have some bigger games to play? Big, so your thoughts?
Charlton, I think the loser of this game is automatically eliminated from the college football playoffs because both of them will have a tough schedule after this game.
Yeah.
It's even more imperative that Washington wins this game, Charlton, because the way that the Pac-12 conference is perceived. Auburn is, member of the SEC, and everybody's always looked at the strength of that conference, Charlton. But one of the things that people are overlooking at this game is 2 strong-arm quarterbacks, Stidham at Auburn and Browning at Washington.
Yeah.
They're going to be the difference makers in this game, Charlton. Both of these players are seniors. It's time for them to rise to the top. And one of those, whichever one has the best game, Charlton, is going to be victorious. You know that Auburn always has a stern defense and a lot of speed in the secondary. How will Browning adjust to that?
Well, I think we'll have to see that. It's really exciting football. I know a lot of people are getting ready for whatever teams they want to watch play, whether it's Michigan or Notre Dame or some of the other big names out there. Syracuse playing Western Michigan, Wisconsin playing Western Kentucky, Colorado and Colorado State. Stanford is San Diego State. San Diego State got them last year. I think Stanford's on the farm this year. Should be a win for the Cardinals. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, I would truly love to see the Williams sisters meet up this year at the U.S. Open in the final. Venus Williams won her first day match today in a 5-3 set, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, she never lost in the first round in the U.S. Open in 20 years of competing in this tournament, Charlton. Just a great representation of American tennis.
Well, that's very well said. So we wish everybody the best as they get ready for more football when it really counts. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with McCain's family, a great man, and he did a great deal of work for this country. And also, I just want to tell everybody all over the universe, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.